Assalamu alaikum students, this is Kinza Rahim, your HM 102 instructor. Thank you so much for sending in your queries related to proposal writing and resume writing. In this lecture, I will primarily be addressing those queries and you will be getting to know the possible answers to your questions. Let's get started. Okay, starting with the first question. If there's no set length for a resume, then what should be the ideal length of a resume? Okay, the answer to your question is that the ideal length of a resume is 2 pages. Okay, make sure that you fill in your experience, employment history, educational history, as well as your skills and keywords in your resume. Okay. Moving to the second question, is it necessary to include all the details provided in the format on your resume? The answer to this question is that you need to include your summary statement, your educational history, your employment history, a list of your skills in your resume. As far as the personal attributes are concerned, you can add them if you think that it will help you to be shortlisted for the interview or it could be of any interest to the prospective employer. For instance, if in the job ad it's stated that the candidate must possess good leadership qualities, okay, he must be able to meet deadlines, okay, then you can actually add that you can work under pressure, okay, you have good and strong leadership qualities, okay. So this is completely optional. That depends on the needs of the job, okay. However, if you do not have any references on hand, you can simply state the heading of references and write down available upon request. Okay? Until unless they are solicited by your prospective employer. Okay? Moving to the next question. Can you include extracurricular activities on your resume? The answer to this question is yes, if you are a student or have recently graduated. Putting extracurricular activities on your resume gives hiring managers a glimpse into your interests outside of your grades and test scores. Okay? If you include certain extracurricular activities on your resume, they can actually help you compensate for a lack of professional experience. Even though at a very first glance, most of the extracurricular might look quite unrelated to your target job, but they have the power to actually make you a more compelling candidate. The key to include the right ones is that you must always include those curricular activities that are actually linked to that job. Okay? So, most of the companies, however, do not want to see your hobbies or extracurricular activities on your resume. But if you add a particular hobby that's quite related to the job, do not fear to add it. Okay? For instance, if you were a part of student government, okay, so it will invariably tell the prospective employer that you have the management, communication, and leadership qualities. Okay? If you were a part of certain clubs that are quite related to your field, okay, this will basically demonstrate that you are actually adept in doing certain things that are actually required by the prospective employer. Okay? If you were a part of certain sports teams or volunteer activities, this will enable the prospective employer to get an idea about your leadership skills, your teamwork skills. Okay? So people do give it extra time and effort while actually including these things, because you have to actually add those extracurricular activities that conform to the needs of the job. Okay? Moving to another question. Are all the templates provided online eligible for resume writing? The answer to this question is no. People, there are a lot of templates that are available online. Some require you to actually put in your profile picture, okay? Some use a fancy formatting or a fancy font. Some require you to actually bifurcate your information in tables or columns, okay? So these are usually not considered as very professional, okay? Adding a picture on your resume can actually hurt your candidacy, and in most cases, there are no benefits of including one. Okay? Some prospective employers think that you are actually trying to take advantage of your appearance or race by actually including a picture on your resume so that as to be considered for the job. Okay? Moreover, if you consider the font, okay, there are a lot of templates that are available online that actually include a very fancy font or have a colored background. People, these are not considered as professional, okay, or formal. Moving to the information presented in columns, these are also not acceptable. One, the software will reject your application, okay. Secondly, the traditional template of a resume is usually liked by the employers. Okay, try to include that. The traditional resume format allows the employers to actually scan through the information, okay, which they require. Moreover, if you are actually trying to include your information in columns, it would make it very difficult for the employer to actually look for the information that he wants. Okay? The format of a traditional resume is already provided to you people. Okay? What are some of the keywords that can be included in a resume? People, make sure that whenever you are writing a resume, you add certain keywords related to your field. Okay? Because we are living in the era of technology. Okay? So most of the recruiters actually use certain softwares to actually scan through the resumes and shortlist the applicants on the basis of that. Okay? These keywords have been borrowed from a resume of a business executive. Let's look into these. Industry specific skills. Okay? Bookkeeping, product launch, proposal writing related to business. Okay? Soft skills, problem solving, communication, sales, team management, hardware and softwares used for the job. Okay? Job titles. Make sure that you enter certain designations. Okay? Then, training and certification. Any trainings that you have received, do mention those. Education related to your field. MBA, it's related to business. Okay? For instance, if you have a BBA degree or PhD, okay, do mention that. Industry jargon, okay, related to your field, do mention that. Okay? Asset management, it is one of the keywords. Okay? So impressive terms, for instance, if you have achieved something, if you have won an award or something like that, if you were the top salesman, do mention that. Company names, if you have worked in a company that has a big name, okay, do mention that, because obviously the prospective employer will be looking into that as well as the software will have a repository of those keywords as well. Okay? Locations, training program, or if you were part of certain campaigns, do add that. Okay? Here are some of the keywords for a resume of a mechanical engineer: design, computer-aided design, engineering, mechanical, testing, performance, drawings, building. Then we have Bachelor's of Science in Mechanical Engineering when it comes to education. Okay? People, keep this thing in mind that for a different field, you have different keywords. Okay? You cannot use certain keywords that actually belong to some other job in your resume. Okay? Keywords are highly field specific when it comes to the resume. Okay? Moving to our next question. What is the difference between a CV and a resume? Well, CV is abbreviated for curriculum vitae, which means a record of your life, and resume means a short descriptive summary. Resume is used to apply for non-academic positions, while a CV is used to apply for academic positions. Resume basically emphasizes on your skills, okay? And a CV, on the other hand, emphasizes on your academic accomplishments. If we consider the length, the resume basically contains an ideal length of 2 pages, while CV can be longer than 2 pages and contains a detailed synopsis which contains information about individuals' education, publications, awards, affiliations, and other academic accomplishments. Resume is used in the corporate world as well as in the consultation profession, etc. However, CV is used in the teaching domain, okay? It basically enlists your publications, okay? That's why the length of a CV is very long. Let's look into your queries related to proposal writing. Moving to the next question. What is the difference between a formal proposal and a report? Well, people, the answer is very simple. A research proposal describes what the researcher intends to do in his research study, and it's written before the collection and analysis of the data. You write a proposal to get your idea or the topic approved. A research report describes the whole research study, and it's submitted after the completion of the whole research project. The main difference between a research proposal and a research report is that a research proposal basically describes the proposed research, okay, the proposed methodology, the expected results, okay, whereas a research report basically describes the completed research, including the findings, conclusion, and recommendations. If we move to the tense, okay, a proposal basically is written in future tense. It will be done or it will be followed, okay. As far as the report is concerned, it's always written in the past tense, okay. Students, I have tried to address each and every query that was sent to me via Google Forms. If you still think that any of your questions is not addressed, feel free to email me, okay? As for the coming weeks, the same process will be followed. You are required to send me your questions or queries by every Friday. Thank you so much.